Social anxiety. Hello and welcome. Today, we'll dive into an incredibly important topic that explores how social interactions can be challenging for many of us. Social anxiety. The fears we feel about how others behave towards us, what they say, and how they look at us have become more than just personal struggles. They've evolved into a societal issue. In the modern world, many people experience intense anxiety when they interact in social settings, with groups, or even when merely engaging with others. The roots of these anxieties, however, run deep into human history, social structures, and psychological makeup. Philosophy can be a powerful guide in helping us deal with social anxiety. The perspectives of some of history's great philosophers can offer valuable insights into overcoming these struggles. Throughout this video, we'll examine social anxiety through a philosophical lens, exploring the thoughts and ideas of key philosophers and how we can find inner peace and independence from the judgments of others. How can philosophy help us in this area? Let's uncover that together. Understanding social anxiety. Before we dive deeper, it's essential to understand what social anxiety is and why it has become so prevalent in modern society. Social anxiety is the intense fear, worry, or unease people feel when engaging in social interactions. The fear of failure in social settings, the anxiety about being judged or rejected, are some of the primary causes. As humans, we naturally seek social approval, validation, and affection. These needs are deeply ingrained in our evolutionary instincts, as societal acceptance historically increased our chances of survival. However, in today's world, social anxiety disorder arises when these instincts are triggered incorrectly or excessively. Such anxieties can significantly impair one's ability to express themselves in relationships and society. Communication, being one of our most fundamental needs, becomes stifled when these fears dominate. When the fear of judgment or rejection takes hold, it becomes more difficult to engage fully in social contexts. From a philosophical perspective, can these anxieties be overcome? Ancient philosophers like Socrates would suggest that the first step in overcoming social anxiety is self-awareness. If a person doesn't understand themselves and constantly adapts to external judgments, they will likely increase their social anxiety. According to Socrates, understanding oneself and living a life of virtue is key to achieving a healthy relationship with society. Socrates famously said, "Know thyself." He believed that wisdom comes from understanding our own nature. If we don't understand ourselves, we are vulnerable to external forces, and social anxiety will persist. The first step to overcoming anxiety is knowing who we truly are, so we can relate to others more freely and authentically. Society and the individual. Philosophical perspectives. One of the most significant causes of social anxiety is the influence of society. The norms, roles, and expectations imposed on individuals can be overwhelming. How do philosophers view the relationship between society and the individual? How does this dynamic contribute to social anxiety? Jean-Paul Sartre, a prominent existentialist, was deeply concerned with the effects of societal pressures on the individual. He famously said, "Hell is other people." What he meant was that our anxieties often stem from being constantly judged by others. When we place too much importance on how others perceive us, we allow their judgments to define our lives. Sartre's philosophy emphasizes the importance of embracing one's own freedom and individuality. According to him, the best way to deal with social anxiety is to liberate oneself from the judgment of others. Friedrich Nietzsche also touches on the theme of overcoming societal pressures. Nietzsche argued that the individual must break free from societal conventions to find personal strength. His famous idea of the will to power suggests that we must create our own values, free from the constraints imposed by society. If we allow society to define us, we diminish our inner strength, thus increasing social anxiety. Nietzsche's philosophy challenges us to embrace our uniqueness, to be individuals in a world that often pressures us to conform. According to Nietzsche, overcoming social anxiety requires an individual to reject societal norms and cultivate their personal strength. Become who you are is his advice for those struggling with social anxiety. Self-confidence. The key to overcoming social anxiety lies in developing self-confidence. People who are self-confident are able to express themselves freely without being overly concerned about how others perceive them. Philosophical approaches teach us that self-confidence is not merely about external validation, it is about inner strength. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, provides valuable insights into overcoming anxiety through self-mastery. For Aurelius, the most important form of control is internal, not external. You have power over your mind, not outside events, he stated. This idea is central to Stoicism, focusing on what we can control, our reactions and thoughts, and letting go of what we cannot control, the judgments and actions of others. Aurelius believed that the fear of others' opinions should not disrupt our inner peace. We cannot control what others think, but we can control how we respond to their judgments. Cultivating inner calm allows us to detach from societal pressure and embrace a more peaceful existence. Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American transcendentalist, also emphasized the importance of self-reliance. His famous quote, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken," encourages us to embrace our true selves, free from the comparison and judgment of others. Emerson's perspective aligns with overcoming social anxiety by helping individuals embrace their uniqueness and inner confidence. Both Aurelius and Emerson suggest that true self-confidence comes from understanding and accepting ourselves for who we truly are, independent of external pressures. When we stop seeking validation from others, we free ourselves from the anxiety of being judged. Inner peace and social independence. Another essential way to overcome social anxiety is through cultivating inner peace. Social anxiety often arises when there is an inner sense of unrest and insecurity. Philosophers like Simone de Beauvoir have highlighted the importance of self-liberation from societal expectations. For de Beauvoir, especially when it comes to women, social pressures prevent individuals from expressing their true selves. She argued that true liberation comes when one breaks free from these societal norms. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman, she said, underlining the role of social conditioning in shaping individuals. Similarly, to overcome social anxiety, one must liberate themselves from these external pressures. De Beauvoir's idea suggests that real peace comes from the freedom to express oneself authentically, without conforming to societal demands. Additionally, Albert Camus expressed that life's challenges are not about competing with others, but rather with ourselves. Life is the sum of all your choices, he said, encouraging us to make choices that reflect our authentic selves, rather than being driven by societal pressures. Inner peace can only be achieved when we stop comparing ourselves to others and focus on our own personal growth and understanding. Practical steps and conclusion. So, how can we practically overcome social anxiety? The first step is to understand ourselves and live authentically. By understanding our values, accepting our true selves, and letting go of the need for validation, we can reduce the power social anxiety has over us. Taking small steps toward engaging in social interactions without constantly fearing judgment will gradually help us build confidence. We can also apply Stoic principles to guide us in these interactions. Recognizing that we cannot control others' reactions, but we can control our own responses, can help us feel more in control. Cultivating gratitude and focusing on the positive aspects of social interactions can also help reduce anxiety. To conclude, Camus' words resonate deeply. The struggle itself toward the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. Overcoming social anxiety is not about perfection, but about the journey to self-understanding and inner peace. We must trust ourselves and embrace the idea that we are enough, just as we are. Conclusion. Today, we explored how philosophy can be a guiding light in understanding and overcoming social anxiety. Great thinkers like Socrates, Sartre, Nietzsche, and Aurelius offer timeless wisdom on how to free ourselves from societal judgments and find inner peace. By embracing our authenticity, Focusing on what we can control and developing self-confidence, we can begin to overcome social anxiety. It's a journey, and every step we take brings us closer to living more freely without the constraints of fear. Thank you for joining us on this philosophical exploration of social anxiety. Remember, the key to overcoming social anxiety lies in knowing who you are, embracing your uniqueness, and living authentically.